Hey guys, I'm Friendzone. Welcome to another episode of The Rundown. So, I just got done watching this Leaving Neverland documentary. First off, let me just say that this was really hard to watch. I could barely get through it. The first time I tried to watch the first part of the documentary, I actually turned it off. I just couldn't stomach some of the detail that they were going into. I just thought it was really sick and disturbing. If you guys don't know, this documentary is about the allegations that were brought up against Michael Jackson about sexual misconduct with children, particularly little boys. This documentary focuses on two particular individuals who actually always denied any claims against Michael Jackson, but in this documentary they actually provide a lot more detail about the abuse and how he was able to get away with it for so long, mostly just by manipulating them and convincing them that if they ever told anybody anything, they were going to be in big trouble, along with Michael too. I'm not sure what to really think about these stories. Honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards believing them. There was just something about their testimonies and their stories that really just kind of hit home to me, and I really do believe that these things did happen. Side note, one thing that I thought was weird about this documentary, they actually used some of his music in the documentary. They used a snippet from Thriller. I thought that was a little bit weird because I'm like, how did they get clearance to use that, from his estate or whoever holds, the rights to the music, knowing that this documentary was going to be something that's, not such a great look for Michael Jackson. So I was just surprised that they were able to get those things cleared. But yeah, this documentary is focused on Wade and James. At the time, they were around 7-8 years old when they met Michael Jackson. Wade met Michael Jackson, I believe it was a dance competition that he was a part of. The other kid, James, met Michael Jackson, I believe it was a Pepsi commercial. Yeah, it was. It was a Pepsi commercial. That's how he ended up meeting him. James was a child actor at the time, and he was recruited to do a commercial with Michael Jackson. So this documentary paints a very chilling picture of Michael Jackson being very manipulative and knowing how to get what he wants out of people. It kind of shows, how he seduced them into these activities that they were a part of, first by just showing them a good time, bringing them to Neverland Ranch and just, having them live the good life, and things like that will influence a child in a certain way to where they won't see all the bad things that's going on. All they see is just how fun it is to hang out with Michael Jackson. And according to this documentary, that's pretty much what Michael did. He used all of his power and influence to try and get these kids close to him and kind of separate them from their parents too. So yeah, they definitely painted him as a very calculating person that knew what he was doing in trying to play this little cat and mouse game to try and get these kids alone. It's really disgusting. Of course, all of this is just alleged at this point. Nothing's been proven. These are all just stories that are coming out. But like I said, I honestly don't have any reason to not believe them. Yes, they did deny these allegations, when they were kids, but if you actually watch the documentary, it goes into explaining why they had to deny it. I mean, it's pretty easy to brainwash a child into thinking, oh, I'm going to get in trouble if I tell anybody about this, and Michael's going to get in trouble too. He's going to be sent to jail. He's going to be, probably killed or something if this ever gets out that this is an actual thing that happened. So you may be surprised how far a child is willing to go to cover for your ass when you're doing some sick shit. I'm just saying. We always hear that Michael Jackson had the mind of a child and so forth and so on, but sometimes I just have to wonder if that was just a cover for all the sinister shit that he was really into. Allegedly. So yeah, the documentary starts to get really graphic. He starts to go down a list of all of these things that Michael Jackson did to him, all of the times and places where they were having relations. I mean, it's really disgusting. Like, this is kind of the part where I almost didn't make it through the first part when they started going over all these details of things that happened. Like, I turned it off. And then I thought to myself, no, you got to get through this thing so you can give the people, proper commentary on what's going on. So yeah, I did actually make it through the whole 4-hour documentary. It definitely was a challenge. Of course, you know, the parents are completely oblivious to all this stuff that's allegedly happening. You know, he's telling us about all this abuse and all of these different times and places that it happened, and apparently the parents were completely oblivious to it the whole time. And this kind of goes back to the whole manipulation thing. Michael would always have it set up to where the parents weren't able to be close to them. He had already gotten them into the mindset of, oh, it's okay to have my child go and sleep with Michael Jackson. So now, you know, he's furthering that manipulation and trying to keep them separated to where there's a great distance between mother and child or father and child, to where, you know, they won't be there to defend their child. Yeah, there was all kinds of little games that he would allegedly play to try and keep that separation. At some point, he even wanted Wade to spend a whole year with him. He literally propositioned Wade's mom about, you know, just packing up and sending Wade to him to stay with him for a whole year. Not even with her around, like with parental supervision. Just send me your kid, basically. Send me your kid for the next year. I'll send them back without any, you know, psychological scarring or anything, for sure. Eventually, Wade's mom did succumb to the pressure, and she did send her child off to go and live with Michael Jackson. Actually, I think she ended up going with him. Her and her child picked up and left the whole family behind in Australia to come over to America to spend more time with Michael Jackson and possibly help launch a career for the kid. So the whole family was torn apart. I mean, that opens up a whole new can of worms. If you actually watch the documentary, it's really, really sad to see what happened to this family. It kind of makes me feel like maybe Wade's mom was just an opportunist. She kind of felt like this was her shot to just get away from her husband and start a whole new life with her child somewhere else. But I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. So yeah, they got really, really close, Wade and Michael Jackson. I mean, there was even like a mock wedding, allegedly. Like, they literally had a mock wedding between Michael Jackson and Wade, one of the victims, one of the alleged victims. I think there might even be video footage of that. You guys let me know. Just do a Google search and let me know if you guys find any video footage of that. I'm almost sure there is, which kind of makes me think, like, how did we not red flag this the whole time? Like, how did we not red flag this whole thing the entire time? But yeah, there was a whole wedding ceremony. Wade, to this day, still has a box full of all the jewelry that Michael Jackson had given to him during that period of abuse. I just thought that was super strange. But eventually, as time goes by, I guess their bond starts to weaken a little bit. Michael Jackson pops up with a new friend, Macaulay Culkin. You guys probably know him from the Home Alone series. But they start hanging out really tough, and it puts Wade in a position where he's really jealous about, you know, what's happening with Mike and this new kid now. It's sick that this kid would even be having those kind of feelings, you know, in a situation with a grown man. But of course, all of this is alleged. All of these are just allegations as of right now, but I mean, like I said, we don't really have much to go on at this point, but I mean, I do kind of believe that these things did happen. I'm not brainwashed by the moonwalk, okay? The moonwalk did not brainwash me that bad that I'm going to put the blinders on and act like I don't see some shit that's obviously fucking weird. And not just weird like, oh, they just think I'm a weirdo. No, this is beyond just weird. This is crossing the line. The fact that these kids are sleeping in the bed with you, all of that shit is crossing the line. Somebody on your team somewhere should have said something like, hey, you really shouldn't be doing this, Mike. We gotta stop this. So yeah, around this time that he's allegedly, you know, hanging out with Macaulay Culkin now, I guess Michael had started to allegedly introduce alcohol into the mix. That was something new. Wade describes the experience, you know, hanging out with Michael all the time. Now I'm quoting here or paraphrasing the best I can, but he says Michael Jackson always had porn and candy. Porn and candy. That's what he had. Porn and candy. That's what he had. And this is in reference to one of the places where he would take Wade to do some of these things that he was doing with him. So we fast forward a little bit. Wade's not really getting the attention that he was getting before. You know, he's still feeling these feelings of jealousy and so forth and so on. He's being pushed further and further away from Michael's, you know, close inner circle, to where they were hanging out all the time and doing everything together, to where they might see each other like every couple of months now. So I can only imagine what that does to a kid's mind. Like, it's already bad enough you've screwed him up anyway with the sexual abuse, allegedly. But then on top of that, you just discard him like he's nothing after that, allegedly. I can only imagine that, you know, if these allegations are 100% true, that guy, not kid, I mean, he's grown now, so that guy is probably still completely fucked up in the head. So around this time, allegations start to come out about sexual abuse. This is the first time these allegations have ever surfaced. Wade and a bunch of other kids came out to defend Michael. You know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, there's no way anything like this ever happened to us. These kids are lying, the whole 9 yards. They do say in the documentary that just after, you know, Wade and them came out and defended Michael, he did go and pay off their house for them, or bought a house for them, which kind of seems weird. You know, that's kind of, you did me a favor, I'm going to do you a favor kind of thing. But he's acquitted of any wrongdoing in that trial. Right after that, he ends up marrying Lisa Marie Presley. Yeah, I think it was Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis Presley's daughter. I always thought that was weird. You know, Michael Jackson in general just didn't really seem like a sexual person to me when I was a kid. So just seeing him being with a woman was kind of weird for me, because it kind of relates it to, okay, those two are together. But I just couldn't picture Mike like that when I was a kid. So I always thought it was kind of strange. And as an adult, it's even stranger now, because I'm realizing that he didn't start dating these women and marrying these women and having babies and stuff until these allegations started coming out. Once these allegations started coming out, it kind of seemed like maybe he needed to revamp his image so that people wouldn't think weird stuff about him. I definitely think that's possible, that Lisa Marie, who else? Debbie Rowe. I definitely think these women that were in his life could have been just a front to try and cover up, you know, what's really happening, to try and put a different spin, a different perception on who he is as a person, so that people didn't even think these kind of things anymore. So at some point, the abuse with Wade elevates to anal sex. There was this whole situation at a hotel, allegedly, where Wade was invited there. Michael Jackson attempted to have anal sex with Wade, with him as the aggressor in this situation. Allegedly, oh god. So the next day, allegedly, Michael Jackson calls Wade and he's frantic and he's telling him, hey, you have to find those underwear that you were wearing over here. There might be blood in them. I really need you to go look for those, and if you do find them, I need you to get rid of them. So I guess the night before, when they were in the hotel room together and they were experimenting, you know, there might have been some blood. And there might have been some blood that was left in the kid's underwear. So, you know, Michael Jackson's panicking and whatnot, and he needs him to, you know, help fix the situation. I just thought that was just the most disgusting, disturbing thing I've heard in quite a while. Like I said, he got married shortly after that and had a few babies with this woman named Debbie Rowe. I always thought that relationship was kind of weird, Debbie Rowe and Michael Jackson. It just seemed like it wasn't really a match, which, I mean, I don't know who would have been a match for Michael Jackson. He was the kind of person that you just couldn't really imagine being with anybody in that kind of way. And I also thought it was weird. Now, this isn't something that I necessarily noticed, but other people noticed, because I was too young to even understand the concept at the time. But those babies are not black. And he's genetically black. He may have had vitiligo and his skin started to change, but like, genetically, he's a black man, right? So how did those kids turn out all milky white? I just never understood that after it was explained to me by my dad. You know, a couple other people, you know, had some funny commentary on it, and I just thought that was weird as hell. Like, hang on a second, you know, I could start right now using all the skin bleach in the world and become the lightest, palest skin motherfucker ever, But if I stick my dick in some woman and we have a baby, that baby's gonna come out black. Am I right or am I wrong? I mean, am I wrong? I mean, I'm not a scientist or anything, but it just seems like that only makes sense, right? So yeah, it just seems like he was always in these relationships with various women, not because he was like genuinely in love with them, but because he needed to support some kind of image that he was trying to put out there. But moving right along, Wade ends up starting a pretty successful career in choreography. He ends up working with NSYNC and Britney Spears. I thought that was pretty cool that he was able to, continue on with his life and do something well for himself. After this whole tragedy, he goes through a couple of girlfriends. Eventually he does fall in love, and he gets married, has a baby, has a whole family going and everything. This is of course in his adult years. I think he's probably in his 30s or late 20s around that time. So then even more allegations start coming out. Once again, Wade is asked to, try and defend Michael Jackson, testify on his behalf. This time, Wade just doesn't want to be bothered with it. Wade doesn't want to be bothered with this at all. He came out last time and defended Michael Jackson, even though he knows deep down in his heart things did happen between them. He came out and lied before. As he's growing and as he's getting older, these things just don't sit well with him. So this next time around, he's really just not down to try and defend him anymore. But he does end up getting subpoenaed into court, so he has to anyway. And once again, he's acquitted. Some of these jurors at the trial for Michael Jackson were pretty ridiculous. Like, I saw footage of, after the trial, they were interviewing the jurors and, asking them why they felt the way they felt and why they came to their not guilty verdicts. There was this one lady there that literally said that she didn't like how the prosecution was pointing at people in the courtroom. She literally said that she put in her not guilty verdict because she was in her feelings about how the prosecution was pointing at people in the courtroom. You are willing to let a pedophile go free because you don't like how the prosecutor is pointing at you? You're gonna disregard all the facts and evidence in this case because you're in your feelings about somebody doing that? I thought that shit was sick. That shit just made me damn near throw my phone across the room. So I have to wonder, how biased was this whole jury, and how easily swayed were they to where something as simple as that would sway your opinion to where you would put in a not guilty verdict for this man and let him walk free to go molest more children allegedly, just because you don't like how they pointed at people in the courtroom. That's just nuts to me. Shortly after that trial, Michael Jackson ended up dying at the age of 50. We all remember that. It was a very, very sad day for a lot of us. I just feel really, really bad for Wade and James. It's crazy that they had to carry this secret their entire lives. They couldn't tell anybody. They couldn't do anything about it. And I mean, secrets are secrets, but you can only hold a secret for so long until it just eats at you. It will eat at you if you don't tell somebody, if you don't get this shit off of your chest. So it just had to have sucked having to carry around a grown man's secret for as long as they did and not tell anybody just to protect this man, and all the while it's eating them away inside. Allegedly. So that was pretty much the documentary, guys. It was really sick. Like I said, I almost didn't make it through the first part of the documentary. I made it 40 minutes in and they started describing all of the sexual abuse and I just couldn't take it. But I did end up making it through the whole thing. Not all of it is extremely graphic like that. It's not just 4 hours of just graphic details or anything, but there was that section there that was just really hard for me. So Oprah's out here doing interviews with Wade and James, and people are really pissed about it. There are those people out there that are just so die-hard fans of certain celebrities that they don't give a damn if a celebrity raped their child. They would fucking, still be bumping their album the next minute. I mean, there are really those people out here. I've seen it. Some people are just sick. Look at the R. Kelly situation. I mean, no matter how many times we all saw that tape, guess what? He just still keeps coming out with music and people still keep buying it. It's like people don't even care about just how disgustingly twisted that shit is. It's like, oh, fuck it, just give us another Thriller and we'll just get over it. or they have the mentality where they have this mental block. They can't even like fathom the idea that their favorite celebrity could have possibly done something wrong, so they won't even like consider the idea that something could have happened. Or they just cling to the notion that he was acquitted. Like, good lawyers can't get you off for a crime. Like, you can't pay off people to say that they never did anything if you have the money and power like that. I mean, I think about things like that. I think about all of the different aspects, like they could have been paid off, all kinds of shit. I'm not just taking this shit at face value just because they entered a not guilty verdict. They said not guilty for O.J. Simpson too, remember? And all he does is sit up here and tease about how he really did kill that woman. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about this thing. I knew this documentary was coming out a long time ago. I already did a video about Michael Jackson. You guys can go back and look at that. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to repost it so it's right up there with this video. But yeah, you guys tell me what you think. Did you see the documentary? Did you not give a fuck? Are you still riding hardcore for Michael Jackson? Do you believe these guys? That's the biggest question here. Do you believe these guys? Do you believe that these things actually happened? Like I said before, I'm kind of leaning towards believing them because I don't see any reason to not believe them, and all the evidence that I've seen so far since I was a kid all the way till now, it all points the same way. And we can try and spin it however we want. Oh, he has the mind of a child. We can try and spin it as much as we want so we don't have to deal with the gravity of the reality of the realness of the situation. But it is what it is, dog. Like, it is what it is, you know? We can only hide from it and run from it for so long. And we're the real monsters for knowing that this happened. And, you know, allegedly, and if it is true, then we're the real monsters for allowing that to happen and then shaming these people who came out and told their stories. But yeah, get in the comment box and let me know what you guys think. And of course, as always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for joining me for the rundown, guys. I'm Friendzone. Peace.
Tonight,